In this video, we will learn the implementation of k-means clustering in Python. It's an unsupervised learning algorithm where in our data set, we will not have any target class. And in this, whatever data set is given to us, we are going to group them based upon certain parameters. And in this, I have taken a mall customer data set. Let me now explain the program. First, I'm importing the necessary package here. I need pandas and then matplotlib.pyplot for plotting. And then first I'm importing the data set. Here the data set is a CSV file, which is mall_customers. I'm reading the CSV file and storing it in a data frame called data. I'm printing the shape of it. If you see this, the data frame has totally 200 rows and then 5 columns. So these are all the various fields present in the data frame. If you see your data set, the fields present in the data set are, first we have customer ID, and then the gender of the customer, and we have the age group of the customer. After that, we have annual income, which is represented in kilo dollars. So that means that it is 15,000. For the first entry, it is $15,000 is the annual income. And then the spending score. Spending score is nothing but based upon the spending pattern of the customers. Scores are assigned to the customers starting from 1 to 100. So it means that 6 is the spending score, means this customer is spending less amount of money, whereas 39 means he is spending more when compared to the previous customer. So I'm printing the data set various fields. So this is the first 5 records of the particular data set. And next, you can use data.info to display information about it so that you will understand what is the data type of various fields. And also you can understand whether you have any null values or not. So if you consider the data.info, it is printing the information like this. So our column customer ID is integer, gender is an object because it contains strings for male and female. So it is an object. And then age, annual income, spending score, all belongs to integer data type. And all are having the values. There is no null values present in this. Okay, so this is a summary about our data set. And also you can call the describe method so that you will get various statistical information about our data set. So in this, remember one thing, this describe method will give you statistics only for the integer, that is numeric data type fields. If you consider our data set, even though we have 5 fields, out of the 5 fields, the gender is a field which contains string data. So you will not get any statistics about that. Okay, so if you consider this, we are getting the statistics for customer ID, age, annual income, and then spending score. So if you look at this, you can easily identify the minimum value, maximum value, and various quartiles like 15%, 50%, 25%, 75%, and so on. And the main aim of displaying this is sometimes you may need to go for normalization. So normalization is nothing but if all the values are different ranges, suppose if one of the values having the values from 0 to 1, whereas other attribute is having values in the range of 50,000 to 70,000, then the second attribute will dominate the impact of the first attribute. For that only, we generally normalize all the attributes. So here now I'm not going for any normalization because if you consider more or less the values are maximum 2 to 3 digits only, all are. So I'm not going for any normalization, but you can go for it. That is always a better practice. And then I'm going to display, I'm going to find any whether any null values are present by means of isNull function. So in isNull, you can use even some function that will tell you how many null values are present. If I use any function, it will tell whether any of the fields contain the null value. If you consider here, for all the 5 fields, I am getting false only. That means that all the 5 fields are having value in that particular column. So there is no null value in my data set, which we already know by means of the info method. Here we are again checking it. Then now I'm going to create clusters. For clustering, you can select any of the attributes to cluster the objects. Now, what I'm going to do is to cluster my object, I am going to select columns 3 and 4. You always know that all the columns or rows will be numbered starting from 0. So I'm going to select the columns 3 and 4. So which are all the columns will be selected? So if you see your columns, these are all the various columns. Customer ID is a column number with 0 index. Gender is 1 index. Age is index 2. 3 and 4 means I'm going to plot the graph between annual income and then spending score. So I'm considering only these 2 columns. Okay, so I'm going to create clusters based upon this only. Now, I'm extracting only those two columns, which are nothing but column number, index 3 and 4. All the values I'm extracting, then I'm storing it in a data variable, data frame called X. Then I'm imprinting the shape of the data frame. Even though there are totally 5 attributes in that, now since I have selected only 2 columns, I'm getting the shape as 200 rows and then 2 columns. You can even print and see what are the values in the data frame by means of simply printing X. Okay, so this is a basic processing. Now let us go into our actual clustering algorithm. So before you understand the clustering algorithm, let us plot the data, whatever we have selected, the attributes will plot now and understand what is the relation between them. So for plotting, always go for scatter plot because that will tell you various distribution of the data points. Okay, so here I am going to go for scatter plot. So in scatter plot, we are going to plot only 2 attributes. So I'm giving now plt.scatter. And here, what are the attributes I'm going to plot? That I'm going to now select from the data frame data. I'm selecting the first attribute, which is annual income, as the x-axis attribute. And then in the y-axis, I'm going to select from my data frame data spending score. Then I'm going to plot them. When I plot, I'm getting a plot like this. If you see here in the x-axis, we have the attribute, which is nothing but the annual income. In the y-axis spending score, which is varying from 1 to 100. 100 is the maximum value. Now, if you look at this, here itself, you can easily identify how many clusters are present. If you see this, we have 5 clusters in this. So we are going to apply the k-means clustering algorithm and we will find out. In this algorithm, it is in this particular data set, it is visible clearly. But in some data set, we will not have clusters like this. So in that case, clustering should be definitely done. But here, if you see, you are able to understand that 5 clusters are present. So now let us apply the k-means clustering algorithm for that. So before applying the k-means clustering algorithm, I already told you that in case of k-means clustering algorithm, the main drawback is when you start the algorithm, you have to exactly give the value of k. That is nothing but number of clusters. How to identify the number of clusters? The method is called as elbow method. Elbow method is nothing but if you want to identify the optimal number of clusters in case of k-means clustering, you can use that method. So that method is based upon WCSS. We have already seen that. That is nothing but for every cluster, you are going to consider the centroid of the cluster and you will consider all the points within the cluster. Then you will find what is the distance of that point with respect to the centroid. You will square it, then you will sum all the points. Okay, so this is called as WCSS. We have already seen this. So now we are going to first identify the optimal number of clusters. So for that, I am going to use this WCSS. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the clustering. That is nothing but I'm going to apply the k-means clustering algorithm. But now I will apply for various number of clusters. First, I will select only one cluster. I'll see what is that WCSS score. Then I will select 2 clusters. I'll find out what is the score. Likewise, I will repeat till I get 10 clusters or 20 clusters. It is up to you, but generally we will go for 1 to 10 clusters based upon our data set. If your data set is too complex, you can increase the number of clusters also. Now, I'm going to apply the k-means clustering algorithm. For that, I need to import it. So from sklearn.cluster, I'm importing k-means. After that, I need to store the scores, WCSS scores, for all the number of clusters. I'm going to now apply the clustering for 1 to 10 clusters. So I need to create an array for that. So I have created a list which is going to store the WCSS score. After that, I need to run the for loop. So for I is equal to 1 in range, for I in range 1 to 11. So here it means that if you give here 11, it will take up to 10 only. So I am going to vary the number of clusters from 1 to 10. Then what I'm going to do in that, first I'm setting 1 as the number of clusters. I'm going to create the cluster. So for creating the clusters, I need to call again the k-means clustering algorithm. So I'm calling the k-means algorithm. So in that, I have to pass how many clusters I want in that particular iteration. So that is available in the variable I. So I'm setting n underscore clusters. This is a variable you have to set that will tell you how many clusters you want in the algorithm. So I'm setting n underscore clusters as first one, which I'm getting from here. Okay, then I'm setting the maximum number of iterations as 300 because in k-means clustering algorithm, I told that the clustering sometimes it may not converge also. Okay, it may be continuing. You have to say when you have to stop the clustering process. So here for that, we are specifying the maximum number of iterations as 300. So it may finish before that also, But if it is not coming to a particular converge, if it is not able to converge, it will stop at 300 iteration. Then I am setting random underscore state is equal to 0. This is done so that when you run your program, you will also get the same output as that of mine. We always set random underscore state is equal to 0, which will start with same seeding for the random function. Then I am going to fit it. Fit is nothing but we are going to train it. So for fitting, we have this k-means clustering object km. I'm going to call km.fit of x. So what is this x? So if you see previously we have created x. So x is nothing but from the data set I have extracted only 2 columns. Those are available in x. So that is nothing but the income column, annual income column, and then spending score column. So I am going to plot that now. Okay, so I'm going to fit it. After that, once you fit it, the clustering algorithm will be over. It will calculate the score value, WCSS score value that you have to get it. For that, we have a variable called km.inertia. Inertia is the variable. Inertia underscore is the variable name. You have to get the value of that variable. For that, I'm using the object km. Once you get it, now this will give you what is the inertia variable value when the number of clusters is equal to 1. Similarly, you have to find the same thing when the number of clusters is equal to 2, 3, up to number of clusters is equal to 10. So for that, what I'm doing is the moment I get the inertia value, I'm appending that value in WCSS. It is the list, 1D list. I'm appending in that. Then I'm repeating the for loop again and again. So I'll be continuing from number of clusters is equal to 1 to 10. When I reach 10 number of clusters, I'll come outside the for loop. Now I'm going to print WCSS. So what is there in WCSS? That is nothing but our weight value. WCSS value will be there. You're going to print all these values. If you see this totally, you can see 10 values. The first value corresponds to when the number of clusters is equal to 1, what is the WCSS score? It is nothing but the error value only. And second corresponds to when the number of clusters is equal to 2, what is the value, and so on. Now, I have calculated this WCSS value. I have to plot this value against the number of clusters. Then only I'll get the elbow curve. Okay, so I'm going to now go for the plotting. So if you see in the plot, I'm going to plot 2 things. Consider the plot here. In the x-axis, I have number of clusters. Okay, and in the y-axis, I have this WCSS value. I have to plot them now. So for that, I'm going to call plot. I'm going to pass 2 arguments now. First argument is the number of clusters, which is nothing but it is varying from 1 to 10. So I'm calling range of 1, 11. And in the y-axis, I need WCSS. Now you can give any title and X label, Y label for your graph. Finally, call plt.show, which will show you a graph in your IPython notebook. So I'm getting the graph now. Now, what is the significance of this elbow curve? If you see this method, it is going to tell you when the number of clusters is changing, like you are increasing the number of clusters in the x-axis from 1 to 10. When you are increasing the number of clusters, what is happening to your inertia? If you see this, the WCSS score is decreasing. That means that the error is decreasing. Okay. And it is not that error will go on continuously decreasing when the number of clusters is increasing. It's not like that. Okay. After you reach some optimum value, there will not be that much change. So how to get the optimal value? If you see this, this is the elbow curve. You know, our elbow, if you keep the elbow, it is like the shape like this. Okay. So in this curve, you see which is a sharp bend. Okay. This here you have one bend, and here also you have the other bend. Look at the sharp bend. This bend is very sharp. Okay. So that means that I am going to consider the point corresponding to this particular value. So it's nothing but number of clusters you plot here, you are getting 5. Okay. So see the sharp bend and project it in the x-axis, you will be getting number of clusters as 5. So that is the thing we also identified from the scatter plot. Now, our k-means algorithm is also telling that we have the optimal number of clusters as 5. So we now got the optimal number of clusters. Now only you have to again go for k-means clustering algorithm and cluster the objects. Okay. So now whatever we have done in the elbow method is just we identified what is the maximum number of clusters. Now we are going to create them. In which cluster the objects are associated with. So first for that, we are going to create the clusters now. For that, I'm going to call k-means algorithm. Now I'm passing 3 arguments. Number of clusters is equal to 5 because now I found that optimal number of cluster is 5. Then I'm setting maximum iteration as 300, random status 0. Then I'm calling the function fit_predict. I'm passing the two variables I have selected, the income and the spending score. Then it is predicting the value that is stored in the list called Y predicted. Then I am printing it. If you see this list, we have totally values from 0 to 5. So what it means, if you see the first object here, the number is 3. That means that the first object is now associated with cluster 3. That means it is a fourth cluster. Okay, the first cluster will have number as 0, second will have 1, and so on. If you see here, the numbers are from 0 to 4. That means we have created totally 5 clusters. So if I want to find out which are all the objects in the first cluster, wherever you have 0, you identify all the objects. They all belongs to one cluster. And wherever you have 1, they all belongs to second cluster, and so on. So we are getting clearly from here that 5 clusters are created. But let us plot as a graph so that we will be understanding easily. And before that, when you plot the graph, you need to also understand the meaning of K-means algorithm. Here I told that the algorithm is going to work based upon the centroid. It is going to calculate the distance of the points from the centroid. So we will print along with the centroid for every cluster. So to get the centroid, we have one variable called cluster underscore centers underscore. If you use this variable, you will get the centroid of all the clusters you have created. So I'm going to print it. So when I print, I am getting totally 5 centroids. What is a centroid? It's nothing but XY position. Centroid is going to tell you what is the XY position. So if you see, this is a centroid of the first cluster, which contains the X value and then Y value. And this is a centroid of the second cluster, and so on. So totally we have printed the centroid for all the 5 clusters. Then now we are going to plot. So if you see this is a plot I am going to do now. Okay, so if you look at the plot, totally we have 5 clusters. For printing the clusters in different color, we are going to set the coloring, as well as in every cluster at the center, I have a blue color point. So this point is nothing but what is the centroid of that particular cluster. With respect to that only, the distance is calculated. So now we are going to print everything. So I'm going to create a graph like this. So let us see how to do this graph. So now we are going to create only scatter plot. So I'm going to call the function plt.scatter. And if you look at this, I'm passing 2 different variables. It's nothing but x of y predicted is equal to double equal 0, 0. So what is the first argument? If you see this, the first value varies from 0 to 4. That means that it is for every cluster. Okay. And what is the first value 0 and what is the second value 1? So if you look at this, the first value 0 is nothing but the X value, and the second value 1 is nothing but the Y value. So we are plotting this. And this one I'm setting different size. Now size is set as 100. It's nothing but size for printing your circles. So I'm printing circles. The size for the circle is set as 100. And I'm setting different colors here. And after that, I'm giving different labels so that you will see which label belongs to which particular cluster. So I'm giving different labels. Finally, I want to print the centroid also. For that, I'm giving km.cluster underscore centers. In that, I have 2 variables, X and Y. So I am printing 0 and then 1. Okay. And this one is printed with small size. So I am giving size is equal to 50. So when you do this, you are going to print all the 5 clusters now. And here what we are printing is we are printing only the data points in the clusters. So for that only, the data points will have 2 variables, X and Y. So that only we are predicting from here. We are getting from here. X is nothing but the income value. Y is nothing but the score, spending score. So now we have clearly printed the clusters by means of the K-means clustering algorithm. So after seeing the clusters, you can tell which are all the objects belongs to which cluster and so on. You can identify which cluster is having more members and which cluster is having less members and so on. Now this is about our K-means algorithm.